In a world where hopium and common sense collide, starring the CryptoKeeper and BlockchainCrusader. Welcome to Debate Crypto. Question everything, trust nothing. It's your boy CryptoKeeper, and we are here on a beautiful Magic Money Monday. And we've got none other than your boy Bill Noble. Bill, how you doing this afternoon, brother?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. It's great to be back.
Dude, super glad to have you on. We have got a lot going on over the weekend, man. We had a nice big pump. What do you think of the pump, man? Talk to me about this past weekend. Were you expecting a move in the markets, or did this catch you by surprise?
No, I was expecting it. I put out a tweet on January 3rd called Moon It All. Basically, I remember this the way I remembered stocks from 2009. People were just so apocalyptically bearish.
Yeah.
And they were addicted to the FUD about FTX that it just had to go up because everyone forgot about Satoshi and the vision of crypto.
I like it. I like it. I think a lot of people, had been talking so much, and we had talked about this on Debate Crypto a number of times. We said, man, my only issue with seeing lower prices, and I'd been talking about, hey, I think that we'll see lower prices. I still kind of believe that we're going to see some lower prices again. But that being said, the thing that I had the issue with was that so many people were so, exactly like you said, apocalyptically bearish. It just seems like the market likes to take that information and play games with people's money. So make sure that you are paying attention. Listen, be following Bill Noble. He is no longer with Token Metrics. So for those of you that are wondering, hey, how come I haven't seen Bill recently with Token Metrics? He is not with Token Metrics any longer. He has got his own YouTube thing going on. Obviously, he's got his Twitter and everywhere else, but make sure to follow him. The link is down below the stream. He's been killing it on the YouTube, so make sure to go give him some support as he is always supporting us. All right. As always, follow DCA, Danger Close Alpha. We've got some big stuff going on in the background there. So dangerclosealpha.com for a little preview, little sprinkle for everybody. We had a meeting earlier today, Crusader and I did, with Wen Media. Shout out to J Chains and Voxed. We've got a lot of fun stuff coming up for each and every one of you. We're going to mint the rest of this out, and we're going to be pressing towards that game sooner than you might think, so stick around for that. Let's take a look at the crypto markets. We'll start there, and then we're going to dive into some big altcoins, and I think that you guys will be very, very happy because Bill and I were talking before the stream, and a lot of the altcoins that we're going to be talking about are A, something that you've probably not heard much about, which will be fun. B, have the opportunity, as always, not here to give financial advice, but B, have the opportunity to really make some moves over some amount of time. And C, it may or may not have to do with survivalism. So for those of you that are here for as part of the DCA fam, you're going to love it. Let's take a look at the markets, and we will start there, and then we'll go from there. We've got the global market cap. Let me update this, double check it. 995.94 billion with a B dollars. That's up 1.42%. Bitcoin just keeps moving, up 2.18% on the 24-hour. That's $21,319, $319.37. We've got ETH creeping on 1,600, up almost 20%. Love to see that. And then as we move on down through the top 10, as you would expect, XRP fam, put them up. We're up almost 10.5% on the week. Cardano up over 12%. Dogecoin up over 10%. And Polygon Matic making a big move as well, up over 19%. Bill, this is kind of putting you on the spot, but I know you can do it, so I'm not too worried about it. You mind throwing a little, just a small little bit of TA on either the, I don't know, whatever you're comfortable with, Bitcoin, Ethereum, the S&P, what's kind of happening? Just kind of give us an overall market feel, and then we'll dive into some altcoin stuff.
Absolutely. Let me,
all right.
Let me bring up the mother of all charts.
Yeah, no worries. And you've already got it. Sweet. Let's do it.
Okay, Bitcoin. This is weekly, going back a long way. So I've only seen 2 cycles. I know guys who have seen 3. January 2015 to December 2017. Let's call that a cycle.
Okay.
People define the cycle differently. This analysis was about 150 weeks. And then you had a 1-year bear market.
Okay.
Then using the same mathematics, you had another 152-week bull market and then another winter. So it topped out in November 2021 and it bottomed in January.
Okay.
Now, based on these horizontal lines, which were drawn by a preset called trend-based fib time, the next cycle has started and it goes all the way out until December 2025. So this 1 year winter that everybody thinks is going to continue is over.
Oh, okay. You're the first person to say that.
That's right. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. Right. Winter is over. Now, as with prior springs, it doesn't go parabolic right away.
Right.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay. But this idea that institutions may have to FOMO in, that's my theory. This chart that I developed over the weekend kind of confirms that, right? In other words, the next cycle has started. And instead of Sam Bankman-Fried, you got to start asking yourself, what sectors are going to perform well, right? What sectors do well? And what are the real use cases for blockchain? Not SBF, not FTX. Yep. So in the wake of the fraud, perhaps the real thing emerges.
You know what, Bill? So Crusader and I love that your mind is there talking about sectors. The reason that with Danger Close Alpha it came about was because we're looking around the world and saying, what the heck is going on, right? I would think that you would need to be blind not to understand that we are in some troubled times right now and things are not as they should be. And so that was why we said, you know what, we need to bring education to the forefront on the idea of prepping and getting people prepared for themselves and their family. Well, now let's take another step into it. So now we're looking at what's crumbling before our eyes. If you ask me, it's the US dollar. And I think that you would agree with that as well. Yes?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
So you've got the BRICS nations stepping in and saying, hey, listen, the US who? The US dollar? Yeah, we're not interested in going down with the ship. So we are going to be backing our money with commodities, with gold, with uranium, right? So they're forming a bond and saying, we will have our own reserve currency over here, and it's not going to have anything to do with the US dollar. So the US is out on this island saying, well, wait a minute. We have nothing backing our currency right now. What are we going to do? We've just been printing it to oblivion and living on debt. And now people are getting wiser to this idea. What do we do? Well, the problem with that, what do we do, is that we live in the United States. Okay.
That's right.
We have to be able to purchase things. We have to be able to purchase water, even as simple as what we pay our water bill. We have to be able to purchase food. Eggs are $8 a dozen or something wild right now.
Right.
There's so much happening right now. And crypto is this revolution that's been happening and moving forward and forward and forward. And we have these CBDCs. And you'd be crazy not to see that this digital revolution is happening in conjunction with, hey, life's changing. So talk to me about, we're talking about altcoins today.
Right.
And there's a couple altcoins in particular that really tie in with what we're talking about right now. So
that's right.
Kick it off. Talk to me about one of these altcoins and why it's going to be such a big mover that you believe over the next year, over 2023, 2024 and beyond.
All right. So I'm over the age of 30.
No.
Right? And I've been in crypto for 4 years and markets for a long time.
Okay.
And when I saw this and I saw the guys that were behind it, namely old school commodity and futures traders, I basically altered the trajectory of my career. I joined this group and I started my own YouTube channel.
Okay.
So what I want to talk about is the water crisis. Let's talk about prepping first.
I like it. Let's go.
Prepping's going to go from a niche that some people turn their nose up to something that's necessary, right? Like people using the internet. In 2000, you didn't have to use the internet. 10 years later, if you weren't using the internet, you were an idiot. Yep. Now, same thing. Preppers are going to go mainstream. 2, as you noted, you got to get ready for a currency crisis. How do you write checks in US dollars if eggs are $14 a carton? You got to have gold. You got to have Bitcoin. And we know this, right?
Yep.
Your guys get that. Now, let me ask you something. What's the most valuable commodity out there? What's the one commodity that hasn't moved? Well, gold and water.
Water,
right? Oh, say you're a prepper, you got lots of bottled water, you got maybe a filtration system.
Yeah.
But how could you be a prepper and take that mentality and become a Warren Buffett of prepping? All right, I have an answer. So
I have a suspicion that you've got an answer for me, Bill.
I do. I do. It's called Bark.
Okay.
So this is one component. So let's start with all the clean compliance stuff.
Okay, cool.
Bark is a part of a company named Gold Retriever. I work for Gold Retriever as the director of research.
Okay.
I got paid in speaking fees in this token prior to going to Gold Retriever. And obviously, I work there. So this is made by my employer and I own this token.
Side note, Debate Crypto, myself, Crusader do not own this token and we're not getting paid for this stream, just to be clear. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Appreciate that. So when I first heard about what these guys were going to do, they were essentially going to put commodities on the blockchain.
Okay.
And they were going to start with water. Now, this Bark token is essentially how you would pay for water. So even if you pay in fiat, the blockchain mechanism is how the payment system for water will work. And you're like, well, what water? Well, the Gold Retriever group has got alliances with people in Greenland, which is the Saudi Arabia of water. And we're working to build a strategic water reserve and move water from places that do have it, like Greenland, to places like Arizona, where they're going to be out of water in 2030. And they've already started massive water restrictions. GAN work also shows that there's going to be a big drought this year. Okay. So how can you be a prepper and how can you get long something that suits your mentality that may also wind up being a hedge against a big problem? Right? Because that's something that maybe you haven't thought about. Now, when I heard about this ecosystem, right? Okay. So how do you buy Bark? It's not an ETH pair. Okay. You got to own the native token of the ecosystem, which is GLDN or Gold Retriever. So GLDN is essentially, I call it the money or the pathway or the money that you buy water with.
Okay.
If you've ever been in, like, say, a Formula One race or a baseball game in the summer, and you're like, I'm really thirsty, you'll think outside the box to get water if you need it.
So pause. Where am I buying GLDN tokens if I'm looking for them?
On Uniswap. So the good news is GLDN
is an ETH pair. Okay.
That's right. So this is right on Uniswap.
Okay.
Obviously, this is very volatile, right?
Yep.
I discovered the narrative. I told the Astrobot community at my prior job about it. Then this thing went up and became kind of like its own beast. It came all the way back down with FTX. It's now around $1.
Okay.
And that's interesting about GLDN is that it pays you kind of an auto staking reward in Pax Gold, which is redeemable for physical. So anytime anybody buys or sells GLDN holders actually get kind of a reward in Pax instead of getting a reward in the token. All right. Now, GLDN by itself, somewhat interesting because it's a gold play. Again, I described it initially, and this is still true. It's a micro cap way to play gold outside the legacy system.
Okay.
So if you think of GLDN that way, it's like, wait a minute, you mean I can use gold to pay for water? So you go ETH to GLDN, and then you go GLDN to Bark, all on Uniswap.
Okay.
So if you ask yourself, look at the weather in California. Look at all the weird things that are happening with the US dollar. And you put all of this together and then use the prepper mentality as that third component. In other words, how can I be, maybe we could coin a term, how can I be a prepper investor, or what does a prepper portfolio look like?
Wow. Right? Ooh, I like that.
Right. Will crypto have a real world use case? And wouldn't it be funny if it was for preppers?
You know what the crazy thing is, Bill, is that one of the issues that we've had in terms of, getting people into the space, it hasn't been getting the crypto or NFT community involved or, interested in prepping. It's been the other way around. right? So I think what's really interesting about what you just said is that what happens when the prepper community basically de facto needs to or has to get involved with crypto, because other than obviously having, physical gold, silver, which we know is really hard to lug around. There's all the issues that we've talked about and why Bitcoin is great and why there's all these other solutions. But if they have to be introduced to it, now we're talking about, okay, what kind of a portfolio does that look like and why would I hold it? Well, let me tell you why. I would hold it because you need water to stay alive. You need food, you need water, and we do need some sort of a monetary system, which ours is crumbling. And so if there is an opportunity to be able to utilize blockchain technology to fill the gap of or help us with the problems that we have at hand, and at the same time that helps me continue to prepare my family for what is coming down the pipe, and it's coming. Man, I love it as a whole. So talk to me about this, Bill. So we've got right now, if you told somebody, like just the average person, oh yeah, like you're gonna need to, if you think you're gonna buy water, you're gonna need to buy this token on Ethereum, and then it's gonna you got to convert this and that. They'd be like, huh, right? So talk to the people that do at least understand crypto a little bit as to why does any of that need to happen to get to water? Why are people not just going to say, hey, if I need some freaking bottled water, I'm gonna run to the store and buy it?
Because this is, we're talking about moving water in mass quantities.
Okay.
Like on like jets the size that the Air Force uses.
Okay. When the state of Arizona is out of water and it needs to replenish itself, effectively the thought process is they're going to utilize these tokens in mass to be able to pay whoever their partners are over in Greenland to then bring this over to the States and supply water. And if you're holding this token, obviously that's going to be a very valuable, commodity at that point.
If this token becomes a mechanism, I can use an analogy with the 45th president's NFT collection.
Yeah.
Do you know that onboarded more people into NFTs and Web3 than a lot of other projects?
Oh, probably. I'll bet it did.
Because people put their credit cards down.
Mm-hmm.
They bought it in dollars, but they were really participating in crypto without knowing it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. People who need water, whether it's a municipality, a country, right? No, it's, do you think the current administration is going to let anybody build a pipeline for anything?
Doesn't seem like it.
Right. So they're going to have to go out and participate in a blockchain-based system using fiat or otherwise. So when these people go to participate, when they need water, if you've got a system to get them water, they'll participate in blockchain. Now, to your other point, okay, is it a little hard to understand to go from ETH to GLDN to Bark? Yeah, that's a little outside the box, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You want to make GLDN or ETH. But I remember I had a conversation when the bull market last time started. In January of 2020, a guy named Ohei Matty said that a lot of times the stuff that requires a stretch to understand, frequently it's the technology guys that understand it or make it hard to buy. Like, how did you buy Kusama in 2020? That's an example.
Yeah.
Okay. Nobody knew. Everyone knows now. But the guys who figured it out back then were the ones that were rewarded.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got to stretch your mind, well, okay, stretch it. It's instead of one transaction on Uniswap, it's 2. But if you're a prepper, how many steps have you taken? Do you have digital diversification?
Redundancy. That's right.
Right. Do you have, how much money how much would a real prepper, like with the panic room or the panic house and all that, how much is that? How much did you spend on that? And good for you for doing it. But what if you had a little bit of a digital prepper? Like if you had 2% of your prepper portfolio in something digital, not investment advice.
Right.
You could make money off the fact that institutions are not as prepared as you are.
Yeah. Facts.
Right? And
you could basically front run that.
Right. Well, you could front run the institutions, or the better way to say it, I hope, is that you're going to get in on the ground floor of one of the biggest commodity markets ever, because there's a UN water conference coming up. Like these conversations are being had. They're just not being traded. Yeah. Just like Bitcoin way back when. Everyone says, oh man, I wish I knew about Bitcoin in 2012.
Yep.
Okay. You want to be in on a narrative early. And what I can say about it is I altered my career to do this. Right. And it also let me have my own YouTube channel, which, as a researcher, the dream is to have imagination and freedom, just like preppers, right?
Yeah,
I want to talk about what is important to me.
Yeah. We one of the beautiful things about being in the prepper community is that the reason that people do it is say, hey, listen, I don't want to have to be beholden to whatever sort of I'm going to say at this point, like a woke ideology. Listen, like I'm not in here. I'm not here for it. So I'm going to make myself, my family, and the people that are close to me prepared to not have to jump on board with that. See, because if we are 100% reliant on all of the systems that allow you to get your food and water, just as an example right now, if you rely 100% on that right now, and you have no sort of redundancy, no sort of backup plan that goes along, that says, hey, well, what if? You might want to think about that, because when some of these things do collapse, which they will, and you're hearing people talk about them now, you're hearing a lot of farms are shut down because of this talk of nitrogen issues. You're hearing a lot of chatter about we're not going to be eating meat by 2030. We're going to be eating insects and all plant-based foods. And when you really break some of these ideas down, they don't make sense. You actually end up using more energy to get to the end point, and it hurts the earth more to do all of the steps that need to get you to the point where you feel like you are cutting off your nose to spite your face at that point. Effectively, you're saying, well, yeah, but it looks really good if I do X, Y, and Z, and then I tell people that I did that. Yeah, well, X, Y, and Z also did way more damage than just sticking with how things are. Somebody in the chat, Bill, first of all, chat, we love you guys. We appreciate you for being here. You could be anywhere on a Monday. You're here with Debate Crypto with myself, Bill Noble. So we appreciate that. Make sure to smash the likes. Make sure to follow Bill. His information is down below the stream. We definitely need to make sure that everybody does that today. But I want to ask you, John Connor is a great follower of the show, has been around for a while, wants to know, are these tokens backed by anything? So I'd love to hear from you what that looks like.
Okay, interesting. So Gold Retriever does have a vault with silver in it.
Okay.
So we are looking to have physical backing.
Okay.
Right. The Bark token is maybe the word is not backed, but the strategic water reserve, which I'm going to be on Instagram soon, taking pictures from there.
Yeah.
The strategic water reserve exists. Right. And we have partners in Greenland. So Bark will only move if there's demand for water, and that's the water that we have the relationships to get our hands on.
Yeah.
So I don't want to make its investment advice to say it's backed by anything.
Right.
Gold Retriever is into physical metals, and Gold Retriever believes in rewarding people in physical metals.
Yeah.
And Bark will go up if people buy water from the Gold Retriever water reserve and related relationships.
From that reserve. Yeah, that makes total sense. So as we move into, let's say you're right. Let's say you're right, and we're into this next cycle. It's started. The
right.
Run has started. We're not saying we're going to all-time highs next month for all of you, that are wondering, like, wait a minute, what? Let's say Bill's right. He's the first person that said that on the show. So clip that. I hope that you are correct. Let's say that the run is starting. Now, for those of you that have not been around for a while, just so you know, just because a run is starting does not mean there will not be pullbacks, because there will. Okay. So to be really, really clear, no matter what happens here,
really clear,
there will be pullbacks all along the way. So don't think that anyone is saying, hey, it's up and to the right from here. No pulling back, just freaking long that at 100x because it's going up and to the right. No, right? That's not a fact. But what I see, and this is also part of the reason why I love having you on the show, because I think you're of the same mindset. I've never asked you this before, but I feel like this bull run, the way that it's going to be different is going to be the bull run of last was really focused on hype. I mean, if we're really fair, like all of these freaking meme coins and some of the wild NFT projects that had nothing to do with anything, but they sold like freaking crazy. It was like, hey, how much hype can I create? I don't think we're going to do that again. I think that this time moving forward, it's going to be, hey, like, what's the actual utility here? How does this help me, my family, and moving? Like, what's actually being done here to provide value to not just the crypto space, but to me personally? Because I think people are starting to recognize more and more that our world is getting very foggy, and we need to figure out a place where we can be comfortable in knowing, okay, this is what my future may look like if I can do X, Y, and Z. So are you of the belief that this is going to be the utility bull run, that this is going to be the, hey, what's this actually going to do for me run?
I would call it the necessity bull run, but yes, it's exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
Right. The first necessity right now, short term, January 2023, is that hedge funds have missed the rally. Right. In other words, if you were a hedge fund, you lost money last year with a black swan, you're excused. If you're a hedge fund and you are missing a rally, you got no excuse. So the way I think this starts is it starts with a massive short squeeze, as all rallies do.
Okay.
And no one believes it.
Okay.
Then everyone says, well, maybe I'll buy a dip, and there's no dip. Then it lurches higher than anyone thinks, like 24 or 29K in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Or even much higher prices in ETH.
Yeah.
Right. So if you need your NFTs, perhaps you should think about that now. Right. Way up. And then the pullbacks after everyone gives up and FOMO's in, then you get the pullbacks, or you get ranges. So higher than expected short term, just like 2009. No one believes it. Then maybe in crypto, you get a range where Bitcoin goes into a range, and then the altcoins that you need, let's talk Ethereum, right? The stuff that we know works. And of course, there's Web3. Remember Web3? ETH Denver's coming up. Everyone's like, oh, I'm in Web3. I'm wearing a bunny outfit. Now you say Web3 to people, they're like, what? Who's talking about that? I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone gave up on Solana at $9. Where's Solana now?
Yeah.
And what happens if that kind of price action permeates? And here's the bottom line. How do you want to get positioned? How do you get positioned for a summer rally?
Yeah.
Like, what happens if it's the opposite of last year, right? Where you hit the beach on Memorial Day after maybe a sell in May correction. And how can you make a year or 2 years worth of gains in crypto between June
3 months
and in 3 months? And then maybe you step out at that point and let the geopolitical situation in Ukraine come to an end, or come to a climactic end, because there's going to be some sort of, I call it a big bang over there, right? But the need for a dollar alternative and the need for what I would just simply call digital prepping.
Yeah.
Like, if you got an altcoin or an idea, maybe it's just Bitcoin and ETH. I mean, like, dude, we're not, I want to be in small caps. My daughter's going to medical school, and I believe in these ideas.
Yeah.
But even Bitcoin and Ethereum, I mean, what happens if you never see 20 again? 20K was the all-time high in Bitcoin for a long time. Yeah. I heard people at Bitcoin Miami in 2021 say, if I ever saw Bitcoin at 20K, I'd sell my house and buy Bitcoin. Well, I said, well, if you ever see 20K in Bitcoin, you probably won't be able to sell your house, one. And two, it went to 20, it stayed below 20, and everyone gave up on it.
Everybody was saying it's going to 10.
That's right.
Can't wait till it gets to 10. I'm buying at 10. I'm buying at 10 if it gets below 10.
Right. And the question you got to start asking yourself is, what happens if you never see sub 20 Bitcoin again? What happens? And what does the world look like if that happens? Like, forward thinking, which is what preppers do.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a necessity driven bull market, right? Fueled by Satoshi's vision.
Yeah. And I couldn't agree with you more. It's part of the reason why I think, as someone who is in the prepping game, it's part of the reason why I maybe sometimes come off as being like boring with my portfolio. Like, yeah, I've got a few alts that I've thrown out there at you guys, but like, I talk about like dollar cost averaging, like, woo, but guess what? It's done me really well. And I think that it can do other people really well. Also, it doesn't always need to be this huge parabolic run, but something like what we're talking about with this GLDN and the Bark token, like that has literally life-saving utility if that indeed is the way that we start to replenish water. And so for me, it's something that I'm going to be looking into just from the simple standpoint of, hey, prepper community, yep. Water, need it, yep. Blockchain revolution, do I believe in it? Yep. Is our currency collapsing? Yep. And I'm checking boxes. And I'm saying, wait a minute, is this maybe a small hedge, an opportunity for me to say, hey, you know what? What if Bill's right on this front and this thing goes nutso because we do have these problems? And the reality is the problems already exist. Now we're trying to figure out a solution. And I think that this might be something that we could look at as that. Again, as always, everybody on here, not financial advice. I just really like
altcoins can and do go to zero, including the ones we're talking about. Just
oh yeah, yeah, for sure. We've seen many alts go crazy. People talk about them, and then right. So here's the deal, fam. First of all, thank you all for being here. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. We hope the little bit different sprinkle on today with the altcoins was appreciated. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you're looking for more content regarding some of what we were just talking about, make sure you follow Bill Noble. As always, be subscribed to Debate Crypto. All of the links are down below the video. We love each and every one of you, crypto fam. Bill, is there anything else that you have that you wanted to bring to the people before we sign off here?
Yes, there's a new definition of diversification.
Oh yeah,
you need
tell it to me.
You need to have multiple different ways to pay for everything. So it used to be stocks, bonds, and maybe a little commodities.
Okay.
Now it's dollars, euros, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some sort of maybe alt play that adds to your prepper portfolio. So you can even think of it at a bigger perspective. It's self-defense, food, water, shelter, right? Independence from government. And then maybe you can put in something digital that will protect yourself in the event of a weather event. Like how are governments behaving around, say, biological problems like viruses? If they behave like that around a virus, how are they going to behave around a water shortage?
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Or a precious metal shortage. So how do you protect yourself against the government digitally? Yeah. And that's what I'll leave you with.
Wow. I love it, Bill. Thank you very much for coming on. As always, Crypto fam, we love you guys. We appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Again, you could be anywhere on Monday, but you're here with Debate Crypto, here with Bill Noble. Again, make sure to smash the like before you leave here. And just remember to question everything, trust nothing. And until next time, hodl like it's hot. We will see you soon.